Today I want to talk directly to all you math department heads, assistant principals, principals, or other people who are trying so hard to get your math teachers to work more collaboratively. I'm going to tell you how I got my math teachers to collaborate, not only to improve student outcomes, but also to make their jobs easier. Come on in. Hi, I'm Monhar Dalal, and this is Math Teacher Institute. I've been a math teacher all over the world, and I have a master's degree from the Math for Teaching program at Harvard. If you love math and love teaching math to others, this is the place for you. All right, the secret for me has been to implement professional learning communities among my teachers. So I group teachers either by the same level, if I'm in a larger school where I have multiple teachers teaching the same level, or among teachers who teach a similar level. And we implement a strategy where those teachers are going to meet regularly, and there are going to be certain items that we're going to encourage them to work on together, to collaborate with, to share responsibilities on, and to generally improve student outcomes while also lowering their workload, making this something that after an initial ramp-up phase, teachers really want to keep doing because they find the value in it and they find that it's actually making their job easier and reducing their personal workload. Now you may be thinking, what is a professional learning community? Or I've heard that term used in a wide variety of ways, and that's probably true. I don't think any one person has really coined that term or owns that term, but the way that I use it has been basically as a way of saying we're going to have small teams of teachers that teach either the same or similar subjects and that are going to work together, whether it's on planning, whether it's on backwards planning, assessment, activities, homework, whatever those activities, whatever parts of their job they need to work together on. It's a way of bringing everyone together, dividing up some of the workload, sharing good ideas, and just putting us in a position where collaboration is easier to happen. There are 5 areas that I have my teachers focus on in their PLCs, and they ebb and flow in their importance. But the first one that I always start every semester or every year with is pacing. So if we have a team of several teachers teaching the same subject, we might use this as an opportunity to assign one teacher to come up with a draft of a pacing guide for the term, the semester, whatever it is. And this would have our sort of day-by-day tick-tock of what lessons, what topics we're going to teach, maybe a little outline of what homework we're going to assign, when we're going to schedule quizzes and tests and exams, and just a general overview of kind of everything that we're going to have for the semester. And instead of each one of us doing it individually, one person can take the lead on that, present it at our PLC meeting. We can all give feedback on maybe there's too many quizzes, not enough quizzes, maybe there's too much homework, not enough homework, maybe there's not enough days for this topic or whatever, but we can all work together and we can come up with one really good pacing guide rather than having 3 or 4 or 5 so-so pacing guides that each person had to put their own time into creating. Now that we've taken a look at the pacing, this allows us to focus on our next big project, which is backwards planning. So since one teacher has already kind of taken the lead on the pacing, maybe another teacher on the team can take the lead on writing some of our cumulative summative assessments, right? It's always best to backwards plan by writing our assessments before we do our teaching. That way we would have a clear view of what we're aiming for. And so since we've already had the pacing written out, now we know when the exams are coming, we know what topics are going to be on each exam, and so we can focus on writing them in advance and editing them, collaborating, making sure that they are the best quality, and that then we all know how to teach the right things and the things that we all expect to be on the exam. The third thing that we talk about in all of our PLCs is unexpected challenges. As we know, no week or month goes by in a school without some unexpected challenges. And although we want to try to avoid this turning into just a big gripe session, it is important that unexpected challenges are communicated, are heard, are documented, so that as leaders of the school, we have that ear and that understanding of what is really affecting our teachers in a negative way and what is really harming the education in our school. Because although there are sometimes things we can't avoid, we should certainly be aware that these sorts of issues are happening and keep an eye on them in the future to try and avoid repeating those same mistakes. The fourth topic for every PLC meeting here, we've kind of touched on a little bit, is division of labor. So there's lots of different things that has to happen as teachers, whether it's planning lesson plans, assessments, pacing, curriculum, everything, projects, you name it, right? And there's just so much to do. So if we can work together on teams, and if we're already meeting together and we're already collaborating on what we're teaching and when we're teaching it, it allows us to divide our labor in a more efficient way. We're still going to collaborate on it. We're not going to just say, hey, Tom, write all the homework and I'm just going to give it out blindly. No, we're going to take that homework. We're going to talk about it together. We're going to make it better for all of us. But if Tom can take care of the homework and Susie can take care of the assessments and John already took care of the pacing guides and maybe I can take care of the big project we're going to do in the middle of the term, all of a sudden, each one of those pieces can be better than it would have been on its own. And so our individual workloads have been lessened while our ability to put high quality work out on a regular basis has improved. And so this division of labor, particularly if you have a school big enough where you have multiple teachers teaching the same subject, can be a real lifesaver. And this is where you're going to get the most buy-in from your teachers when they start to realize that by joining up in this community, by giving a little bit of time each week to meeting, that they actually are saving time in the long run. It's a game changer. The final point that I have as a key cornerstone of every PLC meeting is some long-term planning. So that could mean a different thing in different schools, in different situations. That might mean planning for next term or next semester. It might even mean planning for next year or a couple years down the road. Maybe you have a big authorization coming up. Maybe you're adopting a new curriculum or new textbooks. But always keeping that eye on a longer term future so that we make sure that the decisions we make now will benefit us not only in the short term, but in the longer term as well. Now, there's one more aspect to implementing PLCs that is probably more important than anything I've said, so listen up carefully. If you are an administrator or a department head or some other person in leadership who is thinking about implementing PLCs with your teachers, you must give them time to actually meet. And that might mean, as a leader, you may have to be willing to give up something you're already asking your teachers to do in exchange for this. If you take a teacher who is already exhausted and overworked and ask them to start having extra meetings every week and sending you notes, you'll get those notes, but the real collaboration, the real work you're hoping for is not going to really be happening. You have to be willing as a leader to say, here's something that I'm willing to give up in exchange for asking you to do this other thing. Now, I know that in the long run, this is going to benefit our students, this is going to benefit our school, and it's going to benefit you as educators. But I recognize that in the short term, this is a new thing on your plate that you now have to try and take on. And so I am willing to give you this in exchange for this additional work that I'm asking for you to do. If you don't do that, you're not going to see the kind of results that you want. And this is a great principle to take to any sort of initiative you're doing school-wide. There has to be some give and take. Teachers have just been piled upon new initiative after new initiative after new initiative for years now, and none of them have even a moment of free time. If you want to implement something new, it has to be a give and take. And I really hope that everyone can hear me and believe me and implement this so that your teachers can feel heard and respected and not just overwhelmed. Do you meet in PLCs with your school? What are some of the things that you discuss in your PLCs that you found to be really helpful? Please share with us in the comments below so we can all learn and grow together. PLCs are one of the topics that I work on when I visit schools for professional development and support. So if you think that your school could benefit from a little extra help on PLCs or in any area of your math department and you'd like to work with me, please feel free to reach out at the description below. Thanks.